My child, I need you to pause everything you are doing and listen with your spirit, for the most evil and dangerous tie-up has just happened against you, and it is imperative that you are aware of it. You may be looking at your life thinking, everything is calm, but in the unseen realm, a storm has gathered, orchestrated not by one, not by two, but by 5 people who have just joined forces against you. They are not strangers to you, nor are they distant enemies. They are faces you know, energies you have felt, and people who have watched you from the shadows for far longer than you realize. They have decided that they are done waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They have chosen tomorrow as the day to dismantle the peace you have fought so hard to build. You might be asking yourself why this is happening now, why you are the target, and why these 5 individuals, who once walked separate paths and lived in their own isolated worlds of bitterness, have suddenly united in one singular mission to come for you. It seems impossible that such a group would find common ground, but I know the truth behind this alliance, and in this message I will reveal everything to you, who they are, why they turned, and what they plan to do when the sun rises tomorrow. I am pulling back the veil of deception so you can see clearly. So stay with me, because what I am about to show you might just change everything about how you navigate your next 24 hours. My child, listen closely, for this alliance is not normal. It is not merely a group of people gossiping or talking behind your back in a casual manner. This goes far beyond the petty grievances of daily life. It is not about simple gossip, jealousy, or small-minded anger that fades with time. This is spiritual, deeply spiritual, because something has shifted in the unseen realm that has allowed this darkness to congregate. For hearts that once beat separately, filled with their own individual pain, envy, and silent bitterness, have been tied together by a single invisible thread. This is a thread woven in absolute darkness, a cord of malice that has pulled them from their corners into a circle of conspiracy. And that thread has one name written on it: yours. Yes, my beloved, it is you who has unwittingly become the magnet for their insecurity. You are the reason they have come together in this unholy agreement. You are the common link they share, the light they could not understand, and therefore sought to extinguish. They looked at your life and saw the peace they could not steal, the joy they could not break, and the resilience that baffled their understanding. Instead of looking inward and changing themselves, instead of seeking their own healing, they chose the path of destruction and decided to unite against you. But here is the part they do not understand, the fatal flaw in their calculation. When darkness joins hands to fight the righteous, light does not run, it rises. I, the Lord your God, have already seen their plan from the very beginning to the very end, before a single word was whispered in secret. I watched them when they met. I observed the energy in the room, and I saw the anger that brought them together. It wasn't friendship that unified them, it was fear. What you carry frightens them deeply. The favor that rests on your life disturbs their spirits and makes them restless. They see how no matter what happens to you, no matter how hard the wind blows or how deep the valley, you keep getting back up. They have watched with growing frustration how every time they spoke against you, you still rose higher, and they simply couldn't understand why their words had no power. They tried to ruin your reputation with lies, yet you still smiled. They tried to close your doors through manipulation, yet you still found another way. They tried to curse you in secret, whispering ill will into the atmosphere, but every word they spoke turned into a blessing over you because you are covered by my hand. So this time, realizing their individual efforts were futile, they decided to go deeper and combine their wicked strengths. This time they have made a plan to remove not just your opportunity, but your peace, to drain your energy until you are empty, to make you doubt your worth, and to make you question your purpose in this world. They know that the battle is in the mind, and when a child of God forgets who they are, darkness wins a small battle. But my child, I did not send you this message for fear, I sent it for fire, to awaken your spirit to the reality of the war and the victory that is already yours. You are about to remember who you are, and you are about to stand taller than you ever have before. Now let me take you to the specific moment where this alliance began, so you can see the root of the tree that is about to fall. It was a cold evening, the sun had already set, and shadows were stretching long across the earth. The world had gone quiet, and the wind had stilled as if even nature knew something unholy was about to unfold in that secret place. 5 figures arrived one by one in silence, their faces half covered to hide their identities, their hearts full of dark intent. They met in a deserted field, a forgotten place where even the stars seemed to hide behind clouds, refusing to shine their light on such a gathering. There was no laughter, no warmth, no light among them, just 5 broken souls drawn together by a shared hatred. I want you to pause and feel the weight of this revelation. If you are ready to see this plan exposed and dismantled, leave a comment below saying, "I am listening," or "God expose them," so that we may stand in agreement against this plot. The first of the 5 spoke, his voice trembling, not from fear, but from a deep, consuming obsession with your downfall. He said, "We've waited too long. Tomorrow we act. I can't stand seeing them win anymore," his voice dripping with venom. The second, a woman with eyes cold as ice, clenched her fists and whispered, "I know where they'll be. I know how to reach them," revealing she had been stalking your movements. The third, the quiet one who rarely speaks but observes everything, simply nodded, his eyes dark with a jealousy that has rotted his spirit from the inside out. The fourth, who often masks his intentions with a smile, smiled now not with joy, but with a twisted satisfaction, believing the end was near. And the fifth, the newest member of this dark council, the one who provided the final piece of their wicked puzzle, stepped forward and sealed the pact with a nod. Because the moment all 5 agreed, something unseen began to stir. Beneath their feet, the ground trembled slightly as the pact was made. The air grew heavier, and though they couldn't see it, a shadow moved between them, wrapping their words into a single binding command. It whispered to their spirits, "Take everything, leave nothing," and that was the moment their hearts became tied, not by choice, but by darkness. And while they sealed their alliance in secret, congratulating themselves on their cleverness, I was already watching. Yes, my child, I saw it all. Every word they whispered, every thought they entertained, every cruel intention they harbored was laid bare before me, because nothing escapes my sight. Even the whispers of the night echo in my presence, and they thought no one would ever find out about their secret assembly. They believed the cover of darkness was sufficient to hide their wicked scheme, but the Spirit carried their words directly into my hearing, the very moment they were spoken. The instant that the 5th person nodded and the group collectively agreed, saying, "Tomorrow we take everything," I sent a command that shattered the silence of the spiritual realm. And do you know what I said to the encroaching darkness? I said, "No, not my child." That single word, "no," shook the unseen world to its very foundations, because when I speak, darkness does not just listen, it trembles. And when I decide to protect, no hand, no matter how many have joined together, can touch what is mine. From that precise moment, the heavens began to move in response to the threat against you. Archangel Michael was the first to rise from his post, his presence commanding and terrible to the enemy. He stood, his sword blazing like white fire, illuminating the spiritual atmosphere, and his armor glowing with a light that blinded the shadows. He looked toward the earth, directly at the field where the five were plotting, and said, "They plan to strike at dawn." And I replied with the ultimate authority, "Then guard them until dawn breaks." Instantly, legions of angels were dispatched to surround you. It was not just one or two guardians sent to watch over you, but multitudes, a heavenly host assigned to your specific location. Each one was radiant, each one armed with light, and they took their positions at every corner of your life. They surrounded your home, forming a perimeter of fire they stood guard over your thoughts to filter out the fear, and they placed a shield over your heart to keep it steady. Even your dreams were placed under divine protection, because I knew that tonight would not be an ordinary night for you. It would be the night where good and evil watch each other closely, where plans rise in the dark only to be crushed before the morning sun can touch them. My child, I know you have felt something lately, a sensation you couldn't quite put into words. You have felt a sudden heaviness, a strange restlessness that keeps you up, and a nagging sense that someone, somewhere, is speaking your name in a way that doesn't feel right. That is not your imagination playing tricks on you. That is your spirit sensing the stirring in the atmosphere. The world doesn't see it, but your soul knows when battles are being arrayed against it. It has been feeling the tension between the light you carry and the darkness they are projecting. But do not be afraid of this feeling. That sensation is not a warning of your defeat, it is an awakening of your spirit. I allowed you to feel it not to scare you, but so that you would pray. I allowed it so that you would stand strong, alert, and fully aware of who you are in me. When those five gather again tomorrow, thinking their plan is about to unfold perfectly, they will find their strength completely gone. Their words, which were so sharp and unified tonight, will confuse them tomorrow. Their agreement will turn into a bitter argument, and the unity of the five will collapse before their plan even begins. Why will this happen? Because I am sending confusion into their camp, just as I did in the ancient days. Just as I did in the days of Gideon, when thousands of enemies turned their swords against each other instead of my chosen one. That same spirit of confusion will rise again among these five. They will begin to blame each other for delays and mistakes that have no explanation. Distrust will enter their hearts, whispering that there is a traitor among them. The first will suspect the fifth, the second will doubt the third, and by the time the sun sets tomorrow, the alliance they thought would destroy you will destroy itself from the inside out. That is my promise to you, sealed in eternity. But listen, my child, I need something from you in this moment, a participation in your own victory. You cannot fight this battle with anger, and you certainly cannot respond with fear. You must respond with faith. A faith that stands tall even when the threat feels real. When morning comes, I want you to rise early before the world wakes up. Open your window to the new day, breathe deeply of the morning air, and whisper these words into the atmosphere: Lord, I give you this day. Declare with authority, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No plan spoken in darkness shall survive the light. I walk under your protection, and I fear nothing. As you say these words, Archangel Michael himself will stand beside you. You may not see him with your natural eyes, but you will feel him. A sudden warmth will move through the air, gentle yet powerful, bringing a peace that settles deep in your bones. That sensation is not your imagination playing tricks on you. That is the divine presence surrounding you, confirming that your prayer has been heard, and the shield is active. And when those five take their first steps toward you this morning, something will happen that they cannot explain with logic. Their cars may stall without reason. Their phones may fail at the critical moment. And their messages will not deliver, because I, your God, will intercept everything meant for harm and turn it back to them as confusion. They will not succeed because I did not build you to break, I built you to stand. My child, the night is slowly breaking, and the sky is still dark, but the edges of the clouds are turning pale. Somewhere far away, a single bird has begun to sing, marking the hour between darkness and light, the hour when human plans try to rise and divine power begins to move. While you rest, they are awake. Each of the 5 is preparing in silence, unaware that every breath they take is already counted, and every step they take is already seen. They believe this morning belongs to them, but they are about to learn that it belongs to me. The first of them sits at his table, scrolling frantically through his phone, rehearsing the words he will say to trap you. He thinks if he can twist the truth just one more time, he can make you fall, but suddenly his own tongue feels heavy in his mouth. He keeps forgetting the lines he practiced, stumbling over his own thoughts. He blames the tiredness, thinking he just needs coffee, but it is not that, it is the angel standee. Right behind him, placing confusion over his mind so he cannot form a weapon against you. The second, the woman who clenched her fists the night before, stands in front of her mirror trying to compose herself. She looks calm on the surface, but her hands shake uncontrollably. She tries to practice a smile, but her reflection seems to tremble as if the mirror itself refuses to agree with the darkness in her heart. She feels a strange pressure around her chest, something unseen pressing against her spirit, reminding her, "Don't do this." But pride is loud, and she silences that whisper, grabbing her bag to leave. She never notices the light that flickers once across her doorway as she steps out, a sign that her every move is being tracked by heaven. The third, the one who drives the operation, wakes early and drives fast, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. He keeps glancing in his rear mirror, sweating, feeling like someone is following him. He looks back but can't see anyone, yet something tells him he is not alone in that car. He is right. 2 angels ride with him, one on each side of the vehicle, their wings folded and their eyes fixed forward. They are not there to harm him, but to ensure that the moment comes exactly as I have planned, not a second sooner and not a second later. The fourth, the quiet one who thinks he is the master behind all this, sits in absolute stillness. His eyes are dark and his mind is sharp as he calculates the final blow. He thinks he is in control, unaware that he is merely a puppet. There is a dark presence behind him feeding him lies, but as the whisper speaks, another voice interrupts. A voice so calm and powerful that the air itself trembles. It says enough, and for the first time the darkness hesitates because Archangel Michael has entered the battlefield. And the fifth, the newest member who joined to seal your fate, stands waiting at the meeting point, checking a watch that seems to have stopped. This person, who brought the resources to fund this attack, suddenly feels a wave of nausea, a physical rejection of the very ground they stand on. They try to send a final signal to the group, but their fingers stiffen, and the device slips from their hand, cracking against the pavement. They look down, confused, not realizing that an angel has just swatted the device away to break the chain of communication before it could fully form. My child, at the very same moment these things are happening to them, you stir in your sleep. You do not wake fully, but something in your spirit feels a massive shift, like a heavy curtain being drawn back to let light move through a room. The air around you feels warmer, safer, and thicker with peace. You don't know why, but a sense of absolute security begins to cover you like a blanket. That is because Archangel Michael is standing by your bed, his sword glowing faintly, not to frighten you, but to guard you while you rise. And I, the Lord, answer the silent prayer of the angels with a single command: move. Instantly the atmosphere changes. Every angel around you straightens and prepares for action. Their wings open silently, spreading light through the unseen realm. They form a circle that expands outward from your bed, touching your home, your street, and your entire city. Everywhere that circle reaches, darkness loses its strength and grip. Every curse spoken over you cracks and falls to dust, unable to penetrate the barrier. Every negative word they prepared begins to turn into silence. The enemy senses it and begins to panic. Those 5, still, on their way to the location they chose, suddenly feel heavy, as if gravity has increased just for them. Their hearts beat faster, with an anxiety they cannot name. Their phones lose signals simultaneously, cutting them off from one another. The air grows thick and difficult to breathe. They do not understand what is happening, but the unseen world knows clearly the battle has begun, and they are already losing. My child, you must realize this is not a battle of swords and fire in the physical sense. It is a battle of truth and lies, of light and shadow. And you are at the center, not as a victim to be pitied, but as proof of my power. Archangel Michael steps forward, his feet touching the earth like thunder that only spirits can hear. He raises his hand, and every demon that had been whispering into those 5 minds freezes in terror. They try to flee, but chains of light wrap around them, binding them instantly. Michael's eyes blaze with divine authority as he speaks to the darkness. You will not touch what belongs to God. The ground shakes in the spirit, the air clears, and even the sun, still below the horizon, seems to brighten ahead of its time to witness the victory. And now, child, something begins to happen within you. Your heart feels a strange warmth. It is not fear, it is courage rising. You open your eyes, and though the room looks the same, you feel different, stronger, lighter, and awake in a new way. You sit up slowly, the morning light slipping through the curtains and touching your face like a promise from heaven. And in that still moment, you hear it, a soft voice in your spirit saying, "Rise, my child. The hour has come." You whisper back almost without thinking, "I'm ready." Those 2 words echo through the unseen world like a signal fire. Heaven hears it, and immediately things begin to move faster. While you dress, unaware of the details, Archangel Michael moves across the city to dismantle the trap completely. He stops near each of the 5, watching quietly. To the first, he sends a gust of wind that knocks the paper from his hands, the very paper holding your information, your name, and your address. It flies away and lands in water, the ink bleeding out, never to be read again. To the second, he sends a stranger, an innocent soul, who delays her journey with a sudden, urgent question. The small talk stretches into minutes that, too, RN into hours, and by the time she realizes it, the meeting she planned to attend has already ended. To the third, his car suddenly refuses to start. The engine dies completely. He curses, slams the wheel and gets out to check under the hood, but finds nothing wrong. He doesn't know an angel stands before the engine, holding it still with invisible hands. To the fourth, the one who carried the heaviest darkness, Michael steps closer. The man feels a sudden chill, a weight pressing on his chest, and for the first time he hesitates. He looks around, sensing something he cannot name, and hears a whisper, "It's not too late to turn back." And to the fifth, the financier of this plot, Michael simply touches the ground before them. The path they are walking on seems to lengthen, confusing their sense of direction. They turn left when they should turn right, finding themselves lost in a part of the city they know well, disoriented by the divine fog that has descended upon their mind. They wander in circles, unable to find the meeting place, while the time for their wicked plan slips away, stolen by the very confusion they intended for you. Meanwhile, you walk outside into the new day. And the morning air feels different, clearer, sharper, and filled with a freshness you haven't felt in a long time. Every sound, from the birds singing to the rustle of leaves, feels cleaner, as if the world has been washed anew just for you. You sense deep in your spirit that something great is unfolding, though you can't see the details yet. You take a deep breath, look up at the sky and speak softly, "God, I don't know what's happening today, but I trust you." That single act of faith sends waves through the spiritual realm, strengthening the angels around you and weakening the enemy further. Then, for the first time, you feel it, a touch on your shoulder, gentle as light, but unmistakable. It isn't human. It is Archangel Michael letting you know without words that you are safe, you are seen, and you should keep walking. As the hours pass, the alliance of the five begins to collapse exactly as foretold. The first blames the second for being late. The second accuses the third of lying, the third suspects the fourth of betrayal, and the fifth, lost and confused, blames them all for incompetence. Their plan disintegrates like smoke in sunlight. What they meant for evil turns into confusion, and that confusion settles into a heavy silence. At that same moment, you feel peace, a deep, steady peace that sits in your chest like fire wrapped in calm. You realize the war you feared never even touched you. It was fought and won before it began. Later in the day, the consequences of their actions begin to manifest individually. The first one, the liar who spoke with such confidence, tries to call his partners to salvage the plan, but no one answers. He checks his phone, and suddenly the screen flashes white. Every name, every contact, and every number he depended on is errors. Ed, a wind, moves through his room, knocking over a cup of water that spills across his notes, soaking every page and erasing every lie he wrote down. He falls to his knees, trembling, knowing this is not a glitch but judgment. The second, the woman with the trembling hands, faces a different awakening. She goes to a restroom mirror to compose herself, but her reflection does not match her movement. Her lips stay still, but the reflection whispers, "Enough." She gasps, tears filling her eyes not from fear but from the crushing weight of guilt as every lie she told about you plays in her mind. She sees a flicker of a vast white wing in the glass and hears a voice say, "Turn back before it's too late." She collapses, whispering for forgiveness, finally broken by mercy. The third, the driver whose car failed, spends the day in restless anger until night falls and silence returns. In the quiet, he hears a voice he can't ignore. "You tried to harm one, never harmed you." He cries out, "I didn't mean to," but the voice answers, "You knew, yet you followed." An angel stands before him, not to condemn, but to break the chains of deceit. And the man bows his head, asking if there is still time to make it right. The fourth, the leader, sits in a room that suddenly feels heavy and sacred. The lights flicker, the clock stops, and he turns to see a man in armor of light standing before him, Archangel Michael. Michael speaks with a voice like thunder. "You gathered 5, but heaven sent legions." The man tries to speak, but the papers in his hand ignite with a holy light and vanish into dust. Michael declares, "You will learn that mercy is stronger than malice," and the man collapses from the revelation, seeing that he served pride, not power. And the fifth, the one who sought to fund your destruction, finds themselves staring at their accounts only to find them inaccessible, frozen by a series of inexplicable errors. They realize that no amount of resources can purchase a victory against a child of God. They sit in silence, realizing their investment in hatred has yielded only emptiness. Meanwhile, you, unaware of these specific scenes, are guided into something greater. Opportunities begin to unfold one after another, as if doors were waiting for this very moment to open. People begin to speak your name with respect, not suspicion, and tasks hat once took months now take minutes because heaven has cleared your path. As the sun sets, painting the sky in gold and violet, you stop and whisper, "Thank you, God." From above, Archangel Michael answers silently, "It was always his plan." You are stepping into a season of exposure where truth rises quietly but undeniably. My child, no alliance against you will prosper, no secret meeting will stand, and no name spoken against you will last. You are covered under my wings, guarded by my angels, and favored beyond reason. Let this be your prayer tonight, God. Thank you for fighting battles I never saw. Thank you for turning darkness into light. If you feel peace after hearing this, I ask you to subscribe to this channel right now. By subscribing, you are joining a community of believers who know that God is still defending His children. Share this message so that someone else battling unseen alliances knows that they too have already won. You are safe, you are loved, and you are victorious.